Tony Pasquier, I've got you under my... Oh, sorry, there seems to be a little bit of a... That's surprising. My 8-piece orchestra. Oh, I don't know what happened to it. Just, that suits you. How are you, all right? You should always wear blue. Suits you. Yes, well, I will be doing my standout number in any moment now, begin the begin. But I just, this technical hitch that would see my 8-piece orchestra are not actually present as we speak. But don't worry, I will assuredly very soon launch into my standards. Do you know the way to San Jose, and it's not unusual. So if you just give me a minute, bear with me, and I'll be right back with you, okay? So just relax and, take it easy and... Phil, where are you? Yes, it's me, Tony, you should be here. What? Yeah, I've got an audience here. They're waiting for you. I'm billed as Tony Pasquier with his 8-piece orchestra, and where are you? You what? You're in Carlisle? What, the van broke down? Phil! Yes, it is a little inconvenient. But look, you look really, you're looking so well. You've obviously made a big effort, and I do congratulate you. You're really well turned out. Just bear with me just a moment longer, and we'll get started, and you'll be hearing my great tenor voice, and I'm sure you'll appreciate that. So Phil, what are you going to do then? I mean, look, I was counting, yeah, when I booked Best Orchestra We Won't Let You Down.com, I expected that you wouldn't. Yeah, well look, I tell you what, look, there's a helicopter pad on top of the assembly rooms, right? Do you think you could book a helicopter, charter a helicopter, get the boys in it, and that would save the day? At least I'd be able to do my, I mean, what is it now? 30, you'd be here in about 30 minutes. Can you do, you'll get on the case. I want you to get on the helicopter, see if you can sort that out with, so, well, that is unusual. It's not customary to start in such a fashion, but let's see if we can turn it to our advantage. And indeed, I can begin by, which I was going to do anyway, was by relating some episodes from my long and eventful show business career. Yes, Tony Pasquier, very much in demand, always. Well, okay, maybe we could drop the very much. Well, yeah, okay, all right, maybe we could drop the in demand, but I keep going, and I'm always, I'm a trooper, I'm always up there entertaining, it's in my blood. Now, how did this all start, you might be asking yourself? Well, it's funny you should ask that. Well, I know you didn't, but it's kind of rhetorical. It's funny you should, the thing is, it all started many years ago with Loss. Yeah, I know, I'm not talking about Joe Loss and his orchestra, who you might be familiar with, those of you who are aficionados of music, especially light music. Great Joe Loss. No, I'm referring to Loss, the Leicester Opera School, where I was, well, don't like to blow my own trumpet, but then what is a trumpet for? Where I was a star pupil, I was the star alumnus of Loss. Oh, this was many, many years ago now, more than I care to remember, really. I was a tender youth of 19 when I started at Loss, and well, I mentioned this, you see, because that was what launched me into this career, but in a very unusual way, in a very, from my point of view, a very kind of shocking and disappointing way. Well, I'll tell you the story, it's better if I do that. So the story was that I'd done a year though at the Leicester Opera School and I'd quickly been singled out as the main, once again, I mean, I can't, if it's the case, I should mention, as the main talent in the stock of opera alumni. And I was, what did they say these days? I was fast-tracked into the starring role of Loss's production that particular year, I think it would be 79 now, so long ago, oh yes, of Nabucco. And I was going to carry the main song, I mean, metaphorically speaking, I was going to carry the main song, which of course is Vapanseiro. And I had a great ally in that regard, who spotted my talent, my God, who's Charlie Divine, and oh dear Charlie, yeah, and the moniker fits very well there, because, you know, Charlie, no longer with us, but he really was divine as a person. And I should mention at this point, before you get to laudatory about wonderful individuals who've helped me in my career. Certainly I get very laudatory about wonderful individuals who've helped me in my career for good reason, because I'm me. But before you get to laudatory and complimentary in that direction, let me tell you that the luck, if you like, I had there with Charlie Divine was unfortunately offset by the ill luck I had with the other guy, the very, very nefarious Sebastian de la Haye. Yes, what kind of a name is that? That's now Sebastian de la Haye. I should mention at this point that Los, the powers that be, were two, you see. They had two co-coordinators, and they both shared equal power. They could make or break you. Unfortunately, that's what happened to me there eventually, but I'm coming to that now. So so I had a very rough start in show business, because I was, it's taken me years to say this, but I think I can just about manage it now. I was kicked out of the Leicester Opera School, and I did not get my diploma in opera singing. Now I've said it, I didn't get the 3-year diploma, was not to be mine. But I don't mind at all that. I can mention it quite freely without any bitterness. Damn it. So unlike my fellow classmates who all got their diplomas and went on to some cases La Scala, anyway, I'm not bitter, as you can see. It doesn't matter, it's c'est la vie, all part of life's very strange windy road at times. So, but getting back to the very nefarious Sebastian de la Haye, who really had it in for me from the word go, getting back to the production of Nabucco, which, frankly, Charlie Divine had single-handedly, you know, kind of shoehorned me into the main role from Nabucco, which I was very grateful for. Now what happened, and this was most unfortunate, Charlie said, Tony, I'm really sorry, I can't watch the rehearsal nor the production because I've got to go to Maastricht, you see, I'm doing something there over in the Netherlands. So I said, oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. I was very respectful. It was Mr. Divine, not Charlie. So sorry, Mr. Divine. I said, but you'll be great, don't worry, I'll see you when I get back. And off he went. Well, the day of the dress rehearsal for Nabucco, at this point, you'd be quite at liberty to interpret that I never got to do the full production, which I never did, because that I'm referring to the day I was actually kicked out of the office. Anyway, here we are, the dress rehearsal, hundreds of my classmates there with all their eyes. I could see them like, you know, kind of gigantic frog spawn glistening in the theatre lights, expectantly awaiting my tenor voice. And of course I was humming up outside, you know, getting ready with, you know, because in opera singing, well, I don't know if you know, I should explain it, might be worthwhile to do so. In opera singing, you know, the key thing is the power of your voice. It comes, you've got your diagram, right, and it comes from your diagram, and it works its way up, and then you just like launch out. Now, like singing, as I mentioned, my illustrious career with light singing later on, it's not necessarily the case. You can sing like that. You certainly don't have to. And very often with light singing, or croonering if you prefer, it just sort of comes out from the chest like that, you know. Anyway, so getting back to, so they're all there waiting for me. And, oh yes, I need to step back, because otherwise I'll spoil the story. It's a rather long story, you know. Anyway, cutting a long story short, yeah, I know it's probably too late for that already, but anyway, cutting a long story short, going back a day, Sebastian said, oh, Mr. Pasquier, never called me Tony, never Tony. Mr. Pasquier, come to my office, please. So off I went. Oh, I wasn't looking forward to that. I mean, he managed to have an office that I swear resembled the London dungeons. He might have been a feature in there, you know, some criminal who'd committed some heinous crime because he had staring eyes, and he was quite foreboding in his character. I don't know how he ended up in opera, to be honest with you. They say opera produces some weirdo as well. I think Sebastian de la Haye took the cup there with the weirdo. But anyway, so there I am in his office, Mr. Pasquier. Tomorrow, you see, that's why I stepped back, you know, from me going on singing in the dress rehearsal. That's why I stepped back in time. Tomorrow, I thoroughly expect you to wear the Hussar's uniform. Maybe that needs some explanation, because, well, you must know, I'm sure you do, that opera, grand opera, is, for many people, myself included, is synonymous with very lavish haute couture, you know, very lavish dress, flamboyant, gold braids, that kind of thing. Is that I thoroughly expect, Mr. Pasquier, that you will be wearing the Hussar's uniform tomorrow in the dress rehearsal? And I kind of went, yeah, sure. You know, I was very gauche and very naive, and yes, I said what I knew I wouldn't carry out. Yeah, okay, Mr. de la Haye, I can do that. I mean, what was he thinking about? What was the guy thinking about at all? You know, if you know the Hussar's uniform, I mean, you've got. First of all, you've got a tunic which is thick worsted with braid, which makes you sweat. Just number one, that makes you sweat with all the braid and the worsted. On top of that, this particular uniform had a police. No, I didn't mean, no, not Sting, not that police. No. Actually, I must check with my dictionary later. Pellis, I think the pronunciation, maybe the stress is on the first one, Pellis. Or was it police? But anyway, the Pellis, whatever it is, was something you put on top of this as if that wasn't enough to make you sweat. You know, and that was wool with a kind of a furry collar. And so in my instance, yeah, Mr. de la Haye, I will. So I went on. I can switch back now to the all my classmates waiting expectantly to hear my rendition of Baba Zera. And you know, I should just mention here that I was very rebellious in those days. If somebody told me something, I would kind of be determined to not obey. And I'm not saying I'm justified being kicked out and lost by no way, but I was a little bit, I suppose it was the hot-headedness of youth, the rebelliousness of youth, but there was no way I was going to wear that Hussar's uniform, no way at all. So I came on flip-flops, my Hawaiian shorts, like bird-chested, of course, plastic flowers. I think Hawaiian also. Do they have flowers in Hawaiian flowers? Or there's such a thing. Anyway, they were surely flowers, and they were surely plastic. And a towel slung over, a little sisal bag. You know, in other words, think beach. Because I was kind of, you know, this was to be one in the eye for Sebastian de la Haye. You know, I came on, and I could see some of my friends from the course were going, what's Tony thinking of? So I came on like this. Va pensiero sull'ati dorate. And then Sebastian de la Haye, I stood saying, Mr. Pasquier, come here straight away. Stop, musician. Orchestra, would you stop a bit? Well, at least they had an orchestra that could stop. Which reminds me, I'll speak to you in a minute, because I'm halfway through a good story, but I'm getting onto that Phil Armitage. Best orchestra, we won't let you down, .com. Wait till I see him again. Anyway, so come straight away to my office. So basically, effectively, the rehearsal was stopped promptly. Went to the London dungeons again. Mr. Pasquier, since you started just over a year ago at Loss, frankly, you've been nothing but a bag of problems for us. And I'll be glad to see you go. I said, sorry, Mr. de la Haye, see me go. What do you mean? What I mean, to put it succinctly in a few words, is Mr. Pasquier, you are expelled from Loss. You see, I should tell you, just as a favor, though I don't need to, but I will. He said, you know Charlie Devine, the co-coordinator? Well, he phoned me just this afternoon, and apparently he's not coming back, so he's given all the power to me. I have the power. And I know it was kind of time-wise a bit out of the loop there, but you know, I could almost expect that he would burst into, you know, I got the power, which was a few years down the line, but so I have all the power, it is up to me who I hire and fire now, and you are going, you are no longer a student at a loss. I thought, what? Oh, Mr. I was speechless. I just didn't know how to react. You know, so I rather foolishly found myself saying, oh, thank you. And, you know, I was, yes, and I kind of, and Kiki, she knew what was going on, and she passed me in the corridor, and do you know what, I must have been like, you know, we crooners, we entertainers, we have to mind, or well certainly I do, we have to mind our cultural hinterland, and so for me, imagining that I'd gone along with De La Haye's suggestion of the Hussar's uniform, at that moment I would surely have looked like Lady Butler's stunned Hussar from the oil painting, which you're probably very familiar with in Manchester City Galleries, the balaclava, I think, you know, after the charge of light brigade. Well, if you don't know him, it's like there's a stunned, you know, it's after the charge. Well, that was a disaster, like me getting chucked out of loss. So the Hussar's central to the picture, and he's like this, with his sabre, he's kind of going, you know, with his busby on his head like this. Well, I was just like him, I must have been just like him. But of course I wasn't in the Hussar's uniform. I had more sense, didn't I? I had Hawaiian shorts on and flip-flops. But it was terrible, terrible. Oh, it was really quite a blow, And anyway, oh yes, Phil, yes, that suit, you should always go with that colour scheme in future. You really should. Just give me just a minute. It's my main theme song is coming, and you like it. You'll want to buy the record. Oh, you don't buy records these days. You want to buy the MP3. Oh, you don't buy MP3. You want to stream it when you hear it. And I will be singing it shortly when the orchestra arrives, which is just what I want to just confer just for 1 minute, you know. So just talk amongst yourselves and. Phil, where are you, Phil? Look, you're making a right fool of me here. My whole act is based on an orchestra. You know, the idea, if you remember, was I would come on stage left. Sorry, couldn't be with you no more. I'd come on stage left. There you would be stage right in a crescent with it. It's been complicated. Oh dear, has it been complicated? Oh, I am sorry. But look, did you try and hire that helicopter? No, it's not that easy. What? Go on then. What is it? What is it? The other plan? Yes, I've got a lot of time. But oh, parachute? 8 of you? You'd parachute? Well, Carlisle, Edinburgh, a Cessna, an aeroplane. What do you mean? Can we parachute on Arthur's seat? How do I know if you can parachute onto Arthur's seat? Look, let's just get here as quick as you can. I mean, if I can just at least do my signature to begin the begin, then that'll salvage something from the disaster of this show, thanks to you. And you know, really was Phil. Oh, blocked. So, well, anyway, no, I mean, be assured that, assuredly, to put it another way, my 8-piece orchestra, I can almost guarantee, I can almost guarantee they will be here in about 20 minutes, which will give me a full 10 minutes, actually a bit more to render my my signature tune, which is Begin the Begin, and has been since the beginning of, since the beginning of my career, sometimes get mixed up. Since the beginning of my career, yes, in the early 80s, Begin the Begin, which is a lovely song, you know. Actually, apropos the song, it was by Cole Porter in the 1930s, and you know, Irving Berlin, you know, he of I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas fame, he used to ring up, he used to ring up Cole Porter and he'd say, how's your long song doing? You know, because Begin the Begin is actually from start to finish, I think it's about 8 minutes. It's a long song, as you will find out. Well, probably I'll do the short version with these jokers, but it's a long song. Anyway, so yes, getting back to Lost, you know, it was a tragic situation. I was absolutely disconsolate. I mean, I was 19. Effectively, I had lost my job. I was out of work. And I just sort of, these characters, I'm never going to that website again, booking orchestras. I went to my little bedsit in Leicester, and I thought, I like to look on the bright side of life. I thought, I'll give myself a little fillip. Yeah, a little fillip. No, I'm not talking about a friend called Philip, but Philip is like a little boost. So I got my little mini keyboards out. I thought, I'll make a joke out of this. And I jigged the lyrics to a very well-known song. Of course, when I give you just a few bars of it. So you can imagine me getting the chords. Start spreading the news. I'm leaving today. I'll make a brand new start of it in old DHSSS, Department of Health and Social Security, because I was on the dole now. If I can make it there, I'll make it. Ding, ding, nice C chord. Anywhere, it's up to you. DHSS, DHSS, which was kind of poking fun at myself, because, no job, dull money. But I didn't want it. You see, I was very proud. Those days, I didn't want to accept, sort of a handout from the state. And so that's where Joe came in. He said, Tony, first of all, I'm sorry to hear you got kicked out of Loss. He said, but listen, he was also a student there. He said, every year I work at Billy Bucklin's Skegness. He says, I'll put a word in for you, and my word will get you in there. If you can just hang on till the summer, you'll be, you might be able to launch off into, who knows, a career for life, which actually happened. So, Joe, thank you so much. It was a branch for me to grab hold of. I felt anything but like Tarzan, but as Tarzan might have done, go, hey, I'm going to Skegness in the summer. It was a real lift for me. And I'm eternally grateful to Joe for that. What did I do in the interim? Well, what didn't I do? I sold typewriters, I stocked shelves at Tesco, I put up shelves in places I can't even remember. I delivered milk, anything to get me by to the next summer. Summer of 1980 that would have been. It was so long ago. Such a long time. I mean, John Lennon was still alive then. It was ages ago. Really was. So that time, but I got there. To the summer, there we were, summer 1980. Well, thanks to the good offices of Joe, once again, I'm pleased to say, I was shoehorned straight away into the role of compere. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the world of light entertainment, and take my word for it, I'm not a particularly good example of it, because I can't even organise an eight-piece orchestra. But, the compere, his job, or her job, is to introduce the compere is typically used in variety. So the compere, or MC, Master of Ceremonies, sometimes they call him that. Typically he, and it's usually he, sorry to be sexist there, but it is usually, and he'll go on and say, okay, and he starts with a song, come on. By the way, I developed it myself. I should really patent it. It's called my Tahitian Wave. You probably noticed it when I came on, so do you know? It's just a little thing I developed for myself, which usually stuns people, hopefully positively, but I'm never quite sure. Because there was a lady who was well into her 80s, and she went, oh, 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 when I did my Tahitian Wave like this, do you know what you oh, oh. And I think her bifocals fell off. But I mean, usually it goes down well. So the compere starts off with a song like that. So, how are we, everybody? You don't think holiday camp here. Think holiday camp. So, are we having a good time, everybody? Okay, you liked my introductory number, did you? Yeah, I did too. Okay. Well, we've got a plate spinner for you now. Eddie from Peterborough. Thank you. And a plate spinner comes out, and the music, with the orchestra. The orchestra was there then, and they were lucky, the orchestra start up, and the plate spinner go. And then I said, okay, thank you, Eddie, a round of applause for Eddie. Now we have a troupe of acrobats all the way from Hong Kong. So that was my role. But doesn't it always happen? Or doesn't it with me? Didn't I have to find that character that's got it in for me? Oh, Edinburgh, he was the manager of Light Entertainment's Billy Butlin and Skegness, and well, there was nothing Joe could do about it. He didn't have the power there, because, and he just, oh, he gave me all sorts of problems. I'll give you an example if you like. Okay, Northern guy. Okay, Pasquier, didn't call me so. Pasquier, look, we took you on from Joe's recommendation, and look, don't you go with these big ideas of your opera school, and we don't. People, look, they pack fish fingers up in Rotherham. They don't want to hear Ness and Dormer and stuff like that. They want it. So look, you know, and this was the first time. This was before I'd sung a note for Billy Butlin. So tomorrow, when you start, you know, your song, the MC always starts on composer stuff. How about give 'em Moon River? I said, oh, Mr. Earhart, please no, not Moon River, no. He said, well, what's wrong with Moon River? It's a lovely song. Breakfast at Tiffany's, a classic. I said, well, you know, and it was true. I mean, I said, I have a problem with Moon River singing it. He says, is this a wind up? What are you going on? I said, no, it's the lines, you see. It's just, I know it's me, but whenever I've sung it in the past, I mean, one time I sang it and I went, Moon River, wider than 2 kilometers. You see, I forget the distance. He says, well, everybody knows it's wider than a mile. I said, I know, isn't it ridiculous? I can't explain it, but I sometimes go, wider than 300 yards. I can't. He said, this is, are you sure? He said, okay, well, okay then, don't start with Moon River. What about, give us a song you'd be comfortable starting off with your first night comparing tomorrow night. I said, well, how about Time After Time? He said, oh, Cyndi Lauper, you know, Time After Time. I said, no. I'm referring to the musical film. It happened in Brooklyn, 1947. He said, you know what's that? Because of course he wasn't, you know, he didn't have the film culture or the musical culture to know that that was, of course, I was referring to that lovely number that is, just to give you a few bars, time after time, I tell myself that I'm so lucky to be loving you. Oh, such a romantic love. And he just looked at me like a kind of a goldfish that has been orphaned into an ice cube container with water in it, and its mouth is open like this. You know, and he said, and after a few seconds he said, Tony, do you know hello? You know, Lionel Richie, hello? And I thought, oh, this guy is such a Philistine. I said, anyway, so I had to start with, hello, is it you I'm looking for? And all that the next night. So I was not in my perfect niche at Billy Butlin's, it has to be said. Which is why I only lasted 2 summers. It's amazing, I lasted 2 summers, really. You must have been quite desperate without me realising it. Oh yeah, would you help me out, would you? Because I am so sure, the day will be saved. You will see that my 8-piece orchestra will come in presently, and I've every reason to believe that Phil has, you know, chartered a helicopter. So you can do me a favour. If you hear the blaze, you know that you're just, if I'm distracted, Tony, the blaze, because I'll get ready for begin the beginning. Because you know that it'll be coming down on the assembly rooms. You can probably run from there or take. Anyway, just listen out for those blades with me. Yes, so Charlotte at Skegness, she had an uncle who worked for Saga, the you know, Saga Cruises, and she had a soft spot for me, and she gave me a chance. She said, I'll speak to my uncle. Tony, you've got a great voice, we'll have you, and you know, sometimes when I'm talking to you, I feel like I'm talking to a 95-year-old. You'd probably do very well with the old folks at Saga, so I took that as the backhanded compliment it was, but I really needed to get away from Ed Earhart and Butlin. So I said, oh yes, please, I'd love to work on Princess of the Tides. I'd love to work on Princess of the Tides, which was the Saga ship. It's called Princess of the Tides. So next thing you know, there I am in Scandinavia. or was it Norway, or it might have been, or did I get on the ship in Sweden, or it might have been actually in well, I don't want to give you a geography lesson, it was Scandinavia way. And I got on the ship, and well, deja vu all over again in terms of my luck in some regards. What I'm referring to now is my luck in straight away getting the plum job, which is what I got, which was I was put in sole control of the senior saga section. I should explain very briefly that saga, as you know, it's a pensioners cruise, so they're what, from 60, 70, but the senior, what was called the senior saga section, oh, they were seriously old, you know. I mean, you're talking average age 86 or something. So the manager there, he said, Tony, I can see you getting on well with those people. You're always going on about the past, and you know, and I did love history. And as you know, I'd very often go and see Lady Butler's balaclava and hand it back to her when I'd used it myself. No, I'm talking about painting. So yeah, I did have a penchant for history and old people. So I thought this suits me down to the ground, mister. So I went along, introduced myself, had a lovely chat with them, and a lot of which involved them nodding rather like those some furry dogs you sometimes see in the back of cars like this. Please, Tony, yes, nice Tony. Oh, I had to tell them. I didn't tell them. I thought, didn't tell them I got kicked out as lost. No, I said, oh, well, yes, I'm a star, a product of loss. Because they were at a loss to understand what loss was. I said, Leicester Opera School. I was quite brazen with my deviousness, because you know, I really should have come clean and said, look, I have a fantastic voice, but I met up with the wrong types. They had it in for me, got kicked out, but I won't let you down with the singing. But I just thought it best to say, well, of course I am an alumnus of loss, you know, I thought that best. And so, but do you know what? That was such an education for me, that cruise, and I don't know where to begin. And I got on so well with the old folks. Oh, and they loved me. Oh, do you know, I learned how to play bridge and other card games, whist. In fact, they liked me so much that they made me president of the Princess of the Tides Card Society. I was made president, yeah. But that was in a snap election. They made me president, you know. So, and anyway, but one of the things that sticks in my mind, one particular night, just to give you an idea of the type of work it was, I'm just thinking that helicopter, I hope they're here for me. I mean, if I can do my standout number, then not all is lost, because you will like it. You'll go to bed dreaming of it when you hear when they begin, and you know, you want to play it on rote, no doubt. But I won't build myself up more because I slipped up with the orchestra, basically. But anyway, going back to this education, this eye-opener that I had to the human condition on this cruise ship was quite remarkable. Well, yeah, I mean, the Reverend Harry Harper being one example. He was 85 if he was a day. Now he was a strange character. I don't know why he took the cloth. He said he wanted to be a playwright, and he was a reverend, and he was also president of the Correct and Proper Use of English Society. And that reminds me, I got an SMS from him the other day. I'll just check it. Reverend Harry Harper, just see what it is, and here it is. Can't tell you that far too blue. Anyway, so he was one character, the Reverend Harry, who was, oh yes, how could I forget about Ashley Cooper, who sounds like a car. Now, Ashley Cooper was 89, and I could best describe him as a silver-haired Adonis. I wasn't interested, perfectly heterosexual myself. But he was a silver-haired Adonis. I mean, think Douglas Fairbanks Jr. looks, you know. Now, you won't be surprised to hear that he went on every cruise with Saga. All the cruises. The women that were around his age, because don't forget, I was in charge of I was comparing the senior section of Saga, which means that not only, you know, the very old cruisers, passengers, who needed special attention because they were so old. And one, I think, was it Winifred? One, oh, she made such a pain of herself, that woman. I mean, Ashley Cooper was, if you can imagine a honeypot with bees, with his good looks, all the women, oh, they wanted to have, you see, I did the comparing with it, okay, and I have this list here, which is, you know, all the dances. I didn't know. To me, they were just names on a clip pad, you know, Paso Doble, okay, the Bossa Nova, girl from Ipanema. So I'd have to do this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now we have a foxtrot. Would you please get up now? And then, you know, the orchestra would start. And then, you know, en masse, if you can imagine, it's about 50 very, very old people. They'd all get up like crustaceans, like this. And they were so sweet things. But I noticed the difference from the normal pensioners.